Howdy ho YouTubers, welcome to another video. So for today's video I'm going to be showing you how I make my bait mix here at Thatcher's Island. Now your bait doesn't always have to be very expensive. There's lots of boilies on the market, lots of pellet and all different kinds of weird and wonderful liquids. So I'm going to show you how I do things here to keep costs down and the type of things we use to get around the expense of commercial baits. So one of the first things that I love to incorporate into my bait these days is this stuff. Flaked maize. Flaked maize has got a really good attractor profile to it. As soon as you place it into the water, it gives off kind of like a starchy sort of cloud. You can use it dry or wet. And the best thing about flaked maize is that you can buy it by the sack. You don't need to buy it from a fishing retailer. You can get it in a farm store. If you buy it from a fishing retailer, you're probably looking in excess of maybe £7-8 for, you know, a 2 kilo, 3 kilo bag. Go to your local farm store. It's exactly the same product, if not better. You can pick a sack up, a 20 kilo sack like that, for around anywhere between, I'd say, 11 and 15 quid. It will last you ages and it will save you a fortune. I feed it a lot in the fishery during the winter months. It's very, very digestible. During the winter months, a carp's metabolism really slows down. Anything below sort of 12 degrees, they find it very, very hard to convert protein. So there's no point in feeding an expensive pellet, in our case, during the winter months, because the carp don't have the ability to convert that energy. Whereas is with flaked maize, the protein content is a lot lower. It's only probably about 10%. There's a lot of carbohydrate in that, and that gives them the energy. And that's what they're looking for in the winter months. It's not just the case that you feed it in the winter months though, it's an all-round purpose bait. It's one that's very underutilized, very underused, and it's a real edge. You can make these mixes up as to the amount that you want. For the purpose of this exercise, I'm just going to take 4 scoops of the flaked maize. Just like that with my spoon. By the time you're done, you'll end up with something like that. Just a little bucket of flaked maize. You can add water to it depending on your preference of whatever you want to do with it. But I just leave it dry. I can feed it dry into the fishery because it's pre-cooked. It's microlysed. So you can put it in. A little bit of it will float, but the majority of it sinks. So remember, don't buy it from an online fishing retailer. Go to a farm store. It's so much cheaper. It's just another way to save on some carp tax, and that's the way that we do it at the fishery. So next into my mix is this stuff. Oh. That's a 25 kilo sack of Alla Aqua. So when it comes to pellet, a lot of the pellet in the retail world underperforms what you need for fish farming. It's not all bad stuff out there, but it doesn't perform as well as this. The pellet that I've got here is 38% protein. In temperatures 14 degrees and above, this is when we start to feed this as a food source. It's great as a bait as well, and that's why I incorporate it into my mix. They won't get the protein benefit out of it because they can't convert it at this time of year. But as soon as that water temperature starts to reach a 14 degree mark, we can start feeding this stuff. However, from an angler's point of view, it wouldn't really make too much of a difference. But there's more. If you were to buy a 25 kilo sack of pellet in the form that I do as an angler, you would again save yourself a stack load of money. You can buy these in single bags, and I would highly recommend doing that purely from a savings aspect if you're a regular carp angler. You'll be amazed that over the course of a year how much money that will save you. Fishing's becoming expensive enough as it is. Everyone wants to save a little bit of money. So I'm just sharing my little bit of knowledge that I've got in what I do. The more of it you buy, the cheaper it is. So for me, I buy it by the ton, which makes my costs a lot cheaper. However, if you were to buy a bag as an angler, it would still save you a stack of money. It's a fish meal based pellet. It's got all the attractor profiles of what a shop bought pellet would do, and they're very, very effective. So what we're going to do is we're just going to put the 1 scoop of this in here. And again, once you're finished, you'll end up looking something like that. Next thing that goes into my mix is this. Boilies. What I do with the boilie is I just take my little crusher. I just put a handful in like that. And I just literally give it the 1 turn. That gives you a really coarse sort of mix. And that's what I'm looking for. Just little bits and pieces. I don't mind it crumbed up as well. I do add a little bit of finer stuff, but majority of it is just 1 turn into the mix. All that's doing is breaking the boilie up, opening up the actual boilie, and being able to let those sort of attractor profiles leak out faster during this time of year. At the moment, the water temperature is about 9 or 10 degrees, so everything is a little bit slower to activate. And when you've done that, you'll have something that looks like this. A mix with lots of bits and pieces. And at this time of year, all year round really, that's what the carp are looking for. They love to grub around. They've got the ability to sift around, pick all these little bits out, and have a good feed. The last thing I add to my mix is a glug. Pretty much everyone knows what a glug is. From a commercial point of view, there isn't really a lot of savings around them. I got these in a deal. I've got several of them, and they're just a tuna and garlic flavouring. They work well for me. But the great thing about adding the glug is that the flaked maize will soak into it, so that when you come to use it 24 hours later, that can really ferment into the water. The other good thing about it is it will keep for absolute ever. I can keep a mix like that for well over a month with a little bit of glug in it, and it's not affected whatsoever. I get asked quite a lot, why don't we feed boilies as a food source? And the main answer to that is that a boilie doesn't give you the nutritional value of what a pellet does. There's also another caveat to that, which is it's quite expensive. But pound for pound, on a nutritional standpoint, you can't really beat a pellet. As I said, the pellet that we feed here is a high-spec diet. A lot of these boilie companies these days will promote that they're rich in protein and vitamins and minerals. I challenge any of you to go and have a look on the back of some of these packets of these high-end stable brands and find me the protein content, because the reality is it's not there. They'll tell you what's in the bait, they won't tell you the amounts, and they won't tell you the protein content. So for me as a fishery owner, that's a non-starter. I'm looking to grow fish, and I'm looking to keep them at their optimum. I'm not saying these baits don't work, they do, but from a fish keeping perspective and as a staple diet, it's not really the one. So there you go. That's how I make my bait mix. I hope it's helped some of you. You can also buy the pellet that I use at the fishery. It's £10 for 4 kilos, and it'll give you a real wage while you're fishing here. It's something they see every day during the spring and the summer months, and it's something that they instantly recognise as a food source. Hopefully my tips have helped you a little bit, and hopefully it will save you a little bit of money too. Thanks for watching. Tight lines. See you in the next one.